I'm Jack Ralston, and this is my persuasive speech about high schoolers going to the NBA.
Hi, I'm Ruby Peterson.
I'm Tim Peterson.
Hello, I'm Brian Ralston.
Hi, I'm Jeannie Ralston.
Ever since the one and done rule was established in 2005, college basketball players have been cheated and exploited out of millions of dollars in order to allow universities to receive free revenue and marketing from their services. Now, do we want a society where 18-year-olds are being cheated out of millions of dollars? Although 60 of these players will be eventually drafted into the NBA each year, there is the other 99.9% of college basketball players who will not be paid for their services. Now, for this reason, many players would benefit from the extermination of the one and done rule, thus being allowed to go straight from the NBA or straight from high school to the NBA draft. Although some of you may be skeptical about giving millions of dollars to 18-year-olds who just left high school, I have some reasons today that I'm going to outline that might change your mind. Now, the first impact that the one and done rule has on college basketball players is in the financial aspect. As many of you may know, college basketball players are not allowed to receive money for playing basketball. Problems that arise from this is that these players are providing their schools with free marketing, and in the case of those superstars at the college level right now, like Zion Williamson and RJ Barrett, they are giving millions of dollars to their university when in reality they are on NBA level where they could be making millions on their own. According to Forbes, Zion Williamson's Twitter account alone provides Duke University with $5.2 million in revenue. That's a crazy statistic, figuring that it's just a social media page when thinking about the broad picture where he's on Sports Illustrated covers and he sells jerseys for their school, all providing money which he is not receiving. Another player which is affected by this is LaMelo Ball. Although he is not in college yet, he has opted to go overseas where he can receive money for his basketball playing instead of playing at the collegiate level where he will not be paid. Now, 441 of the 900 draft picks between 1998 and 2013 were top 100 recruits, and 31 of these players became superstars. This was during the time when the one and done rule was not in effect, allowing players to reach their full potential in the NBA without being limited to 1 year in college before their career. The one and done rule, as described by SB Nation, is an NBA rule that is collectively bargained between the Players Association and its owners. This rule, according to, as a quote from the NBA Commissioner Adam Silver, is that the league is ready to scrap the rule requiring players to be out of high school for a year before becoming eligible to enter the draft. This means that the NBA is ready for this rule to be eliminated, but hasn't taken action to eliminate it yet. Some more statistics that come out as a result of this rule being established are, according to Putting Sports, 29% of high school top 100 players have been drafted between 1998 and 2013. Now, this number between the time that the rule has been established and now has dropped down much lower because players that are in the top 100 in high school either get injured or have other career-ending problems that arise from playing in college for 1 year. This leads me into my next point. Now, the second aspect that is affecting high school basketball players in their transition to the next level is that these players will have problems from that 1 year in college. Now, as I've said before, many of these players might result in having an injury or other issues that will limit them from going straight to the NBA. Many players like Kobe and LeBron, on the other hand, who have obviously had success at the superstar level, went straight from high school to the NBA, which has allowed them to have long-lasting careers with not many injuries. The players will also be able to learn the league at a young age instead of having that 1 year to limit them in college. This will allow them to directly work with players that are veterans in the league, and according to Change Z, if you're good enough to jump from high school to the NBA, then you should at least have a chance to do it, which I completely agree with, because if there's players that are at the level of an NBA player in high school, there's only about 40 of them versus the other few that are going to college and playing. So it's directly affecting 40 players instead of having just them go to the NBA. Now, many of these players seek the pro league out of high school, much like LaMelo Ball, as I mentioned, where they go overseas to play, and and during that time, it leads them to have 15% of the players reach superstar level because they can go straight to the pros. And these are, much like I mentioned, Kobe Bryant and LeBron James, and that leads me into my next point of how if players were allowed to go straight to the NBA from high school, they would be able to give back. The first way they could give back is to their communities, obviously. Many of these players have grown up into poverty-stricken communities in the inner cities of where they're from, and by going and making millions straight out of high school instead of have that 1 year where they will lose money, they will be able to be like LeBron James and give back. As many of you might know, he funded a school in Akron, Ohio, according to Forbes, where he is allowing inner city children to have free schooling where they can eventually be successful. And unlike LeBron James, Derrick Rose was affected by this rule because he was forced to go to play in college for 1 year instead of going straight to the NBA, which didn't allow him to give back to his community, obviously, when they were in desperate need. Another aspect financially in giving back to these players is they can help their families. Many of them also, as I said, grow up in poverty-stricken families, and they will be able to buy homes for their family members, and much like LeBron James, buy his mother a new vehicle, a new house. And they can ultimately help themselves, where they can buy themselves new houses and help their children to become successful like they did. Now, after acknowledging the financial impact and career impact that college basketball has on these players, along with the aspect of them giving back, I will conclude in saying that I believe that this rule should be scrapped and there should be opportunities for high school players to go straight to the NBA from high school. As you can see, allowing them to do so will help them financially, career-wise, and help their community as a whole. Now, I hope that many of you take away from today that this rule is important overall to everyone as they lead lives of success through basketball careers and they fulfill these opportunities that they are set out to be. I also hope that many of you help to push for this rule being exterminated and allowing players to instead go to college for 1 year like they were forced to do, go to the NBA draft and have long-lasting careers there where they are able to be like superstars like Shaquille O'Neal and LeBron James and eventually give back to their communities, making money for their families and themselves along the way. Thank you.
Hi, this is Ruby Peterson.
I'm Ted Peterson.
I'm Brian Ralston.
And I'm Jeannie Ralston.
And I'm